What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. This is part 2 of 6-part series on a workflow videos for a fall family photo session that I did a few weeks back. And this particular video, we are going to look at a Pascual family with the baby. And let's get to it. Welcome back to another workflow video. And this time we are actually starting from scratch on this workflow for another series of family photo shoots that we just did. And I did this as part of a rapid fire, well, not rapid fire, but uh rapid fire session of 5 families within about an hour and a half. Okay, so let's get started with this first family of 3, with the Pascual family. And they are a family of 3, mom, dad, and baby. I think the baby was about a year old. No, less than a year old, I think. But anyway, let's get started. So the first thing that I do here is actually, like I said on the previous video, on a workflow video with the Balamban family, that I pick out the first few poses and rate that as a 1 star. So what I'm looking for here is nothing that's overblown or too underexposed on exposure. Nothing that's too bright or too dark. So I'm just looking for something that's exposed correctly. If it's less than or greater than a third of a stop, then that's fine. But if I am seeing that there is an overblown or overexposed or underexposed by like stop or 2 stops, then yeah, I might have to reconsider that, come back to that, and see if that's worth a 1 star for me. It depends on the composition. It depends on the lighting as well. If I could still recover and if I could still work on it or crop it in. So for example, this series of shots right here, they're all on the same exposure. One of them might be too blurred or not focused where I want it to be, but that will be on a 2 star or 3 star rating. But for now, it's just a big bunch of photos that I'm trying to look at. And for this one, let's say, for example, here, the baby is starting to cry already, so I might select that, or actually not select the whole thing, because that doesn't make a pretty picture, but it does make a cute picture though. So I might reconsider that too. I think these two might make the cut. I'm just gonna take these, even if I know that there's his head got cut off or out of the frame. I'd still consider that. And it's more 1 star rating is more for just a general idea of the shots. Took a lot of these because baby wasn't looking at or through the camera. So I had dad in these shots here. I had dad on my left side and almost right on top of the camera, or almost right beside my lens, just to get his attention too. But we'll take a look at that closer a bit later. Take all those. So most of these shots are going to be on 1 star rating, just because I know that shots that I got, in composition wise, that they are good, that I'm satisfied with those. I mean, yeah, I know that for a fact that if I can remember correctly, her arm was too stiff or too straight. Asked her to do a little bit. I asked her to bend her arm a little bit, or at least change my angle, I think. I'm still gonna consider that, but I don't think that's gonna make it to the 2 star rating. Mom and baby here, and all yet. Example, here you go, an overexposed shot where the whites are blown out, right? Sure, their faces are there and whatnot, but still details. Could have gotten something on the details in there, on her cardigan, on his shirt as well, right? And everything there. Now, I will try to save that, see if I can work something out. Now, I noticed shoots that I did have an overblown when I was checking my camera. So I readjusted my settings and this one is a lot better. Going underexposed by a third stop, a third of a stop, one third of a stop. I mean, going underexposed. Ooh, I can't talk today. Going under a third of a stop is fine because I could still recover some details from those. Jeez. Okay, so I guess this video will be, this workflow video would be uncut, I guess, if you could say. You'll actually hear me. No cuts. How about that? I'll try that. No cuts on workflow videos. I mentioned earlier that these set was overexposed by at least half or 3/4 of a stop. I can't recover any details on this because it was blown highlights and the faces are too bright and everything else was too. So, but looked into my camera again and I readjusted my settings, got a better exposure. Even if it's a third of a stop, it's okay. Underexposed, it's okay. I could always recover that. That's why I chose this batch as a 1 star and made the cut. I will go through this whole group later on to see if I could get something for a 2 or a 3-star rating. They were more of a test shot, so I'm going to skip that. And then I mentioned to them that they are too far in these photos. I don't like that distance. They are husband and wife, so I think they should be much more closer than that. So I asked them to come closer a little bit and closer, 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 and see who actually would kiss first. And to my surprise, it's always the women. Well, not really. I'm not surprised. But yes, mostly the women that does that. Unless the husband is more of a quirky person or has a big sense of humor, then they would go first. But otherwise, go. Okay, so skip the test shots. I got the whole bunch on a 1 star. So let's edit the first family. Let's get to that one. Okay, so 1 star rating done. Zoom in to 3 photo grid for this one. Mom has her eyes closed. Dad is also looking. Baby's looking down. I would rather have the eye contact between both of them. So they're mostly similar on the shots, just baby not looking at me, which is fine. It's pretty hard to get baby's attention or any family photo that has babies. It's pretty hard to get that attention. This one's a closer, and there you go. Baby's looking at me. The lens, yes. Another one here, a lot closer. I don't have to crop anything. One and two. I'll choose 2 out of 3 of those sets. That set. When they're much more centered, I could always crop in closer. Alright, so I guess you guys already know what criteria is for 1 star, 2 star ratings, and I will leave it to a time lapse. Alright, so we are done with the 2 star rating. You could see I had to zoom in on some of those just to double check the sharpness on the eyes or on the face, or if anyone is out of focus. And I had to double check some other things too. Now it is time to go to star rating, rating it to 3. So I'll have to set this to the rating of 2 on greater than or equal to stars of 2. Now I'll have to repeat everything again, but this time instead of selecting a bunch of photos like this, in those set, I will usually go through a set of 3. So each rows of 3, that's what I usually do, and just pick the best one. If anything is on a different orientation of the photo, or if it's a different pose after that photo, I will consider that to following row. But this time, more of which one of the best of the three would be better, and just having again sharpness, technicalities, focus, composition, most of that. So that keeps on repeating on all my star ratings on all my photos when I'm editing. So again, we'll go back to time lapse, and hopefully you guys can see the process there. And if I can zoom in or out, that usually that I'm checking for something, or if it's sharp or whatnot, and if it's blurred or if it's in a motion blur, that even I'm going to even check my settings here up top here. See the reason why it was blurred, if it shutter speed um too slow or too fast or whatever it was, and my focal length and all stuff there. So most of these would be on the lower ISO settings. I mean, I think ISO 250 to 400. I think I was on this full rapid fire quick portraits. But yeah, you'll probably see that in the time lapse. Here we go. Okay, so we are done with 3 stars. And let's go to the 4 star rating, see if we can get. So here, from a 3 star to a 4 star rating, I think some of these photos will have to be cut. Right now, I actually have 61 of those of their photos. Um, but I think some of those will have to be cut from the list or cut from the photo set itself. But we'll see. Now, again, I go back to composition, sharpness, and whatnot, and all that stuff. Let's go back to the beginning here. And now I will go through editing itself as a set and see if I can get a 4 star out of those. So this whole set here, well, there are different poses, but their lightings are almost the same. Okay, they are a tad bit underexposed. I think it was underexposed by a third stop or 2/3 of a stop, but we'll have to double check that. So I will go through, let's say, we're going to go on this 3 photo grid. Have to that, and this one here actually, same pose, same lighting as well, same exposure. Go to my develop tab module. So I will select the 5 photos that I have, go back to development and my ACP base. There you go. Like I said, I have my contrast, I have my clarity, vibrance, saturation set. I have most of those set as well on the detail and the effects on vignetting. Now, obviously, it's dark and it became darker because of the contrast, and I know that's what's going to happen here. So I'm just going to adjust to a third of a stop, see if that works, and then another third of a stop, the 2/3, see if that works, or a 1 stop, full stop, brighter. Now I can already see that I am almost blowing out my highlights just by judging on the photo itself and the histogram here on my top right. So that's what I'm trying to avoid. So I'm going to go down to 2/3 of a stop or 0.6 and just adjust my highlights on here. And this is where I do it per photo. And I like something that's more airy, much more brighter instead of darker photos when it comes to families or so. And this photo is a bit too orange for me. It's too warm. I can already tell. So I will adjust my temperature here for a little bit, see if I can get something out of that, a much more natural look. Too cold, too warm, maybe this one's right here, 43.7, and adjust my tint. Rid of the green tint that Nikon has natively. And I think that is a good base to start with. Back here, that's too dark. That. There you go. Right? That's a good exposure for them. Sharp faces, in focus. Yeah. I might have to readjust a little bit on the exposure, see if I can go brighter. Yeah, that looks good for me. I can adjust some. There you go. Import side and adjusting my presets, and then on here. I think that works for me. Let me see if I can get a full double check that. I think that works. This will be the process for most of the photos here. And if I want to be consistent, I just go synchronize, double check all my tick boxes over here and synchronize. That should, all these adjustments that I just did should apply to the other 4 photos that I've selected. Now I can actually do this for the whole set of their photos for their family. Then after that, reconsider some of these photos, see if they can make the cut for 4-star ratings. And here we go. We're just going to go back here, double check everything as well. Okay, I will have to do some adjustments. Shadows itself, because I think the background is a lot lighter or a lot brighter, sorry, than the foreground or themselves. They have too much shadows in their faces. The sun is obviously coming from camera right. And I will do this in a time lapse because this might take a while. So this one ends workflow video for this family, and most of that will be 5-star rating. Those are all 40 photos for the Pascual family, and I think I'm mostly done here. All I have to do is just export these photos and save it into a folder, and that's about it. This will have to be the end of the video, and I hope you guys learned something here, and I showed you how I do things behind the scenes on editing a family portraits. So that is the end of the video. I'll see you guys in the next video, and make sure you like and subscribe to the channel, and if you've learned anything, please give this video a thumbs up. And that's about it. See you in the next one. Bye.